go green and save green when you go solar. You can convert to clean energy with a custom designed and built solar system. To tell us more and talk about how the sun can do us all good, Wyatt Everhart joins us, meteorologist and solar advisor. Wyatt, how are you this morning?
I'm doing great. And, I joke with everyone. They say, wow, you're a meteorologist too. And I say, yeah, now I get to focus on just the sunny part of the forecast here in the solar industry. So it's been fun.
I love that. Hey, you know what? I feel like our power, at least especially down here in Tampa Bay, has really been in the headlines these days. Why is this a good time for everybody to rethink perhaps or consider solar energy into their homes?
I think it's becoming actually almost like an emotional response, right? People sit down and sure, there's some environmental benefits to solar, but they sit down and they look at that power bill they're paying, every month, every year, and they think back to 2 and 4 and even 10 years ago. My gosh, how much more am I paying? $200, $300, $400 and up per month for this power? And they just start to say to themselves, is there a better way? Is there something I could do to maybe not be spending these hundreds and even thousands of dollars per year on utility power, which while it's great, it keeps the lights on. Of course, we know ultimately we look back, we don't really have anything to show for that money, right? So I think that's really probably the biggest drivers is people are seeing that ever increasing power bill, especially in utilities across Florida.
For sure we are. Well, I'm curious, how do you know if your home is, a right fit for when it comes to solar? Is any home a right fit, or can you kind of go down the process and, I didn't write this pun, but I'm going to go ahead and take it so you don't get burned in the process?
Look, it's important, right? Look, not every house can go solar, and that can be a tough conversation when we talk to some of those homeowners that want to do it. They might have an unusual slate roofing, or they have a large building to the south that just shades their home, right? Or just too many trees. So there are factors. What I would say is you want to start out by contacting, and this is important, a reputable solar company. And I say any company that's been in business, hopefully 5 years or more, even longer is better, with good online reviews. Solar Energy World, who I represent, is one of those companies operating in Florida. And you want to just make sure, okay, when you book the initial analysis appointment, they're going to take a look. Okay, this does look like it's probably a good fit for solar at your house. And then secondarily, they're going to book that appointment. Your field energy advisor comes out to the home, and they're able to kind of go down exactly what could fit on your roof. How much power could you receive at your house as an offset to your particular power bill? So that's really the process. You got to reach out to a company with the expertise. They've got to look at the home and look at all the surrounding shades, even things like the angle of your roof. It all comes in to play. And I guess the last part, like you said, and we like to talk about this a little bit, hey, you don't want to get burned in the process of going solar, right? And that's where I think, again, vetting your company carefully, like anything else, and we talk about it all the time in the news, right? Buyer beware. Any investment, any home improvement, obviously you just want to make sure you're going with a reputable company and a reputable analyst for your particular property.
And even to kind of dive deeper into this conversation, in those conversations you would have with that potential company, it's one of those things where, yes, this is going to be an upfront expense, but diving in to see if that expense is actually worthwhile when it comes to the money you could be saving on the bills. How do you find out if it's going to be cost efficient?
Well, and that's a great question. That's a big part of the analysis, right? Some people say, my gosh, this must cost a lot of money to do it in the real world, right? Look, if you're a cash investor, it may be a fairly large, what we call top line on the expense, right? But you've got tax credits to factor in. You have many programs you can look at. The first thing anyone should do before they even look at the solar options is say, what am I spending on utility power? If I'm spending, $300 a month, $3,600 a year in 10 years, and I love my home here in Florida, in 10 years, that's $36,000, not even counting for energy inflation, probably going to be more than $40,000 out the door in the next 10 years. Is there a smarter way to spend that same money? So that's where many of our solar clients, certainly here at Solar Energy World, see the light, so to speak, pun intended, and say, yeah, I do think it would be smarter to reallocate that money. Different programs available, whether you're a cash investor, whether you want to potentially take out a financing, 100% finance one of these solar systems, and that's the one where most people say, I'll take that $300 a month, reallocate it into my solar payment. I'm just taking my utility money, putting it into my solar payment. 10, 12 years down the line, I own my power free and clear, and all I did was reallocate the same money. So again, many programs. Very last thing, some utilities in Florida and up and down the East Coast that we work with, they also offer something kind of a solar lease to own type program or PPA program. Sometimes somebody doesn't have the tax liability to take the credits. A program like that could make sense to just kind of save them money right out of the gates and still ultimately own the system.
Well, we're seeing at the bottom of the screen, hashtag Solar Blend for a discount. Make sure and use that. Get in touch with solarenergyworld.com. Wyatt, I got to tell you, thanks for the conversation today. I really appreciate all of your insight.
Hey, it's been fantastic. And hey, what better place to talk about solar than right there in Tampa Bay and in the heart of the Sunshine State, right? We love solar in the Sunshine State.
Couldn't agree with you more.